Right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Week in Italian Startup. So, how are you, Nick?
Ciao, Jack. I'm great. Just back from Slush. Great to hear this. It was a great event. I had fun. Met a lot of people. Super nice.
So, yeah, good. I'm kind of jealous. I mean, been meaning to attend Slash, and you confirmed that it's still like one of the probably top event in Europe, I guess, together maybe with a few, maybe another two events, but Slash is definitely there in the Olympus. What's your take on that? Like the hot take?
I haven't been to many events this year, but I have to say that the vibes are great at Slush. The organization is very good. So the experience that you have is, top. That's for sure.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of the European events are great, but if you want to select one, Slush is a
Yeah, and it's good both for investor and for startup. Is it like a good mix? There is like enough like sort of ways to connect because the problem with this event, I remember people telling me about like for example TechCrunch. It's becoming mainstream. A lot of people there. There is a lot of noise. What about Slash? Like what is your feel there?
Yeah, I think of course there's a lot of people around. The point is whether you manage to organize yourself. So they give you all the tools to organize, to set up meetings, to try to reach out to people, and then the availability of side events is huge. So if you act on time, probably this is true for every major event. If you act on time and try to organize your meetings, then you're
Yeah.
good. And you have a great experience. If you wait for the last minute.
Yeah. Okay, what's the main takeaway from Slash 2025? If you had to choose one in particular, we didn't plan this with Nick, so I'm just going off the cuffs like here.
I didn't see many presentations, of course. I was trying to meet people and stuff like that. But I listened to the side note by Benedict Evans regarding AI. I mean, he had this great presentation about the current state, the future, the prospect, the droughts. And the main question was, are we in a bubble? And his answer was more or less,
Oh wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. So it's not even that certain because people are saying, yeah, for sure AI is a bubble, but maybe I don't know. It's tough to judge. Very tough to judge.
if you're not in one, we will be pretty soon because all the numbers are going in a
Yeah.
specific direction. Um, I don't know. I don't have a short answer. If you're not now, we will be sometime in the future. That's my hunch. But
Interesting. Interesting.
what
All
that
right.
means and the implications, can you short AI? What's the right moment to short AI? So that's the point.
Yeah. Yeah, and then on top of that, and then we move to Italy. Like, how many tech investors are really shorting a lot of tech? I mean, we as tech investors were more like we need to belong, right? That's kind of our nature in a sense. So the shorting part, we can only belong. That's true.
So unless you want to set up a venture capital portfolio that goes long, I don't know, AI application and short AI infrastructure, you can short Microsoft if you dare, that's for sure. Or Nvidia, you can short Nvidia.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I don't know whether you could stay solvent for long enough to see your short payout. I
Interesting.
have no
Very
idea.
interesting. Yeah,
And this
very
is
interesting.
not investment advice. I have to
Of course, this podcast is never investment advice for people that are listening. All right, jumping back to Italy really quick. Okay, so things are moving. I mean, 2025 seems to be sort of the best, the second best year since the big jump of 2020 with the 2 billion mark. So 2025 is really going second in place. So that's pretty cool. And the rounds are not slowing down. So starting from Biocentis, UK and Italy based biotech startup, raising 11 million in seed round from Algebris Climate Tech, Gratam Foundation, and Gratam Environmental Trust and Neuron. So interesting deal here. Again, they call it seed because of course it's biotech. So a seed in biotech is implicitly, intrinsically like bigger than any other seed in SaaS or digital. interesting take, in the sense that basically this is like a spin-off of Imperial College. A lot of the R&D is basically done in Italy, and it's an interesting deal here. I mean, we have a couple of things. There are a few grants that are kind of de-risking this deal, but at the same time there are some sort of long-term scientific investor pitching in, including Algebris, which is very interesting. It's a new fund, and maybe we can talk about that as well. And very promising for sure. And the problem they're trying to basically tackle, it's something that is very actual, which is the idea of biopesticide. So with the push in, I believe, 2030, the cutting of the chemical pesticide use as a sort of a European regulation by 2030, these guys are right there trying to, make their own history in this kind of trend. So very interesting for sure. One thing that I was researching is the kind of patent that they are developing. So essentially, and then, we're not biologists, but it's interesting the way they took it. So essentially, they're using the kind of research for gene editing that is used also in malaria prevention. So they're taking this kind of approach and applying it to biopesticides. So the research is not, a few researchers just inventing something. No, it's really taking something extremely solid, more than 15 years of research, and then giving it a new life in a new vertical. So very interesting approach here, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's something that has been I've heard talking about for quite a few years, as you mentioned, particularly in the case of important human diseases that were spread by insects, mosquitoes in particular. So operating on their DNA in order to make them innocuous in some way. It's interesting to see the same approach to harmful insects in agriculture.
Awesome. Yeah, and Algebris Climate Tech is a new player. We know a little bit the founder, so very, very strong team. They've been working really hard. Algebris is a big private investor in a lot of different asset classes. Algebris Climate Tech is kind of the VC part of what they're building in terms of alternative investment product. The team is very strong. I think they closed at 60 million with a target of 100, and it's a climate tech and deep tech VC specializing in seed to Series A. So very, very strong people that are building in that space. Definitely worth taking a look as they are great investor for sure. All right, moving to the next big round of the week. Another pretty substantial round, 8.64 million in a Series A round for Finapp, which is a water measurement startup that is actually harvesting basically neutrons from essentially space in order to measure soil and snow. I just dumbed down the description. I apologize for that, but it's pretty relevant. I have no idea about the technology. What I can see is definitely the application, which go multiple direction, including essentially agriculture, first of all, and then of course anything related to basically flood, landslide prevention, drought management, and then anything that can be optimized in terms of water. So that's a pretty interesting patent and pretty interesting application.
Yeah. Also water leakage in city infrastructure. That's another important point. I know that in Italy we are quite leaky in terms of our aqueducts and infrastructure. And it's not easy to find water under the soil. So super.
Yeah, I mean, infrastructure optimization, basically driven from an alternative technology. It's very cutting edge. So definitely a very interesting deal. Hence the substantial round, I would say. All right, let's talk about what used to be kind of taboo, which is defense tech. We haven't talked much about defense tech in this podcast, maybe because we're kind of biased toward like more software, more commercial application, I would say, and business application. But it's happening. I mean, Kin Venture Partners launching European Defense and Security Fund. So this is the largest dedicated defense tech VC fund in Europe. And for sure, it's going to trickle down to Italy at some point. If not, it already did, for sure. And I'm saying that because basically what is included in their investment thesis is also, application that go beyond strictly defense application. So it also includes like space and other form of intelligence, cyber, AI. So it's definitely getting there. So very interesting. A new player. Are we going to see more defense tech startup being born at some point? Or maybe the core one that are here in Italy are flourishing more? I don't know. Did you see any change in the deal flow in that sense? Did you see any defense tech in the past few years more than maybe other years? I'm not sure about how to try to predict this kind of wave for Italy. I don't think it's that easy, actually.
I don't know, strictly speaking. In software, the only part that it can be dual use is cybersecurity. And I have to say, I've seen some hints that we are not only talking about civilian uses, but in general, defense in cyber is a strong argument. And I think talking about dual use is kind of taboo, but somehow on the table, as you mentioned. It would be interesting to ask my space tech colleagues, and expect that there are a lot of technologies that in space are being born in the civilian space that you can quickly pivot into dual use. I think the key word is actually dual use, not just, because defense is defense. It's a specific application.
I agree. Yeah.
And I believe there would be a broader scope of dual use technologies, so opportunities and products that can have different applications. Also in, strictly speaking, civilian environment. So let's move.
So, yeah. No, definitely. And it's so broad that it's really touching a lot. So it's dual use in both direction, which is, a military application to civilian use, but also the other way around. So I'm expecting this fund to actually, kind of eyeball a few businesses that can actually be applied to sort of defense application. So it's an interesting angle for sure. So we're going to see like some movements there for sure. That's what I'm a little bit predictive. Yeah.
If you think about it, an institution such as the EIF, the European Investment Fund, moved quite quickly to set up a defense tech fund and to find targets to deploy capital into. So that's kind of signals some pressure. They moved quicker than in other segments or areas of interest. So
is it a good sign or a bad sign? Because exactly, I agree. Like climate tech, we've seen it's kind of slow but moving. We see this thing. But defense tech is like there on spot, and then if I'm not wrong, is like 40 is like European Investment Fund committed 40 million total of 175 million defense investment program. So things need to be deployed, things need to happen. So maybe the political pressure also is not harming.
I think there's some pressure. I agree, quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. All right, Nick, thank you so much for joining. This is it for this week, and I'll catch up with you next week.
Sure thing, Giacomo. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and ciao, everybody. See you next time.